So coming to a nice seated position on the floor, legs crossed if that feels good to you, crisscross position, sitting back on your sit bones and stacking your shoulders kind of just directly over the sit bones. So kind of maybe swaying a little bit back and forth just to kind of find that center there. Bringing your awareness and your gaze kind of inside, beginning to kind of just slow down and just set an intention for the practice here so that here we are. And if it feels good to you, begin to close the eyes down, find a soft gaze maybe on the ground in front of you. And turning your attention inward, knowing that there was something that brought you to your mat today, something that got you here, even with all the Zoom calls and the Zoom meetings that you guys have as students. I recognize that. Coda and I were chatting before this, and just knowing that you still chose to come here and to take this time, I so appreciate it. And thanking yourself for just showing up. And I invite you to just kind of become aware that you're breathing, that you made it here. Just noticing what quality the breath has. Not trying to change or fix anything, but just becoming aware that, hey, guess what? Whether you know it or not, your breath flows in and your breath flows out all day long. And that's why the breath is such a good tool to be able to anchor us in our practice. It gives us information, and it also helps kind of slow the mind down a little bit. It gives the mind something to focus on. It gives that monkey chatter mind something to kind of bite on, that little banana. So coming into your breath and starting to elongate the breath a little bit more, in through the nose, and maybe out through the mouth. Another one like that. Inhaling in through the nose, full deep inhale, sipping, 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 maybe finding a pause at the top of that inhale, and then open mouth exhale. Remember, you're at home, maybe alone, so don't be afraid to just breathe it out, maybe make a sound. One more, in, sipping, sipping, sipping in that air, holding at the top, holding there, suspension, suspended, full of potential, and then exhaling out the nose. So taking a couple more of your own breaths, just like that, with your own time, not trying to rush anything, elongating the breath, finding the suspension between the inhale and the exhale, and then finding the pause between the exhale and the inhale. And if you'd like to start to add a little bit of an ocean sound to the breath by just kind of a slight constriction in the back of the throat, almost sounds like the sea is coming in and the sea is coming out. And I'm just kind of exaggerated for you, but it sounds something like, one more in your own timing. And then flick the eyes open, coming into your seated position, and switch the legs on which leg you had in front. So that way you can give your legs a little bit of a rest to change that position up. And if you need to shake it out, go ahead. I want to just talk to you all about the spine very quickly. That when we're thinking about moving today, we're talking about thoracic mobility, and the thoracic spine starts basically from your from the collarbone all the way down to like the bottom of your ribs. So your entire rib cage is part of that middle of the back. And it starts from the sternum, and those ribs wrap around to the mid back here. So as we're moving through these different movements, we're trying to open up that mid back. A lot of times the low back has a ton of movement in it. And actually, it would be much more beneficial for us if we could actually try to initiate movement in the thoracic spine. So as we move through these moves, think about how can you get more movement in that midline of the back tonight. Move with intention, and please don't do anything that hurts you. So move in the way that feels good for you. So taking a second to ground down, and then reaching the arms forward as if you were reaching around a beach ball, and then tucking the chin to the chest. So rounding down, grabbing that beach ball, and then inhaling, sitting up, opening the arms up, squeezing the shoulder blades together and down the back, and then the chin tucks back towards the midline here. So, and then open and tall. And then exhale, rounding the spine, chin comes to chest, and you're reaching open for round the beach ball, as if you had a beach ball in between your arms. 2 more just like that. So opening, sitting tall, opening, chin tucks back, exhale, rounding the spine, chin tucks, beach ball. Inhale, sit up, chin tucks. Exhale, thoracic spine, that mid spine. Try to get the rounding in that mid spine. Allow the shoulder blades to wrap out away from you. And then last one, inhale, sit tall, chin tucks in, and then reaching back behind you, arms facing open, palms facing open. Great. And then we're going to go for a twist. So you're going to sit nice and tall, inhale, exhale. We're going to just twist over to the left side. So twisting over to the left side, inhale, find the length, exhale, find the depth of the twist. Great. Come back to center, inhale, and we're going to go to the right side. Right shoulder rolls back, sitting nice and tall, right out of the sit bones. So shoulders are still over your seat here, equal. And then exhale, come back to center. So now what I want you to do, the amount of depth that you got out of that was a lot from the lower back. So what I want you to do is, if it feels good, one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly here. And I want you to keep the belly facing towards, so the navel is going to stay kind of, as much as you can, is going to stay rooted and facing forward. And then the chest is going to rotate towards the left. So we're going to do that same one, and you're probably going to get maybe half as far, maybe not even, right? So that you're twist in the mid back here. Relax the shoulders away from the ears here. Breathe. Great. Take the right arm, the one that was maybe on your chest, the right arm reaches out to the left here. And that right scapula is wrapping around. So reaches out to the left here. And we're still in that twist. Great. And then right arm opens up, big circle, twisting to the right. And then coming back into the left one. So reaching out to the right or left here, sorry. Hand comes back onto chest, everything comes back to center. And then we're going to we're going to rotate to the right. So try to keep that navel pointing forward, navel in towards the back of the spine, and then the upper body rotates towards the right. Relaxing the jaw, allowing the shoulder blades to come down the back. It's not about how far you go, it's just what sensation are you getting? I definitely feel the sensation in the mid back here for me. Breath here, find the length. And then left arm reaches out to the right, still in that twist. And you're just reaching that left arm over towards the right. And if this feels challenging, it probably is, because if you're sitting a lot or driving a lot, which a lot of us are, and then left arm opens up to the left and we twist to the left, open it up, and then reach over to the right one more time. Keeping that navel, trying to keep that navel forward. So many things to think about. Sitting nice and tall through the crown of the head, left arm reaching over towards the right. But I was going to say, and then coming towards the center, taking a breath here. If we're sitting a lot, if we're driving a lot, this thoracic spine, this mid spine tends to get really locked up, which can cause shoulder pain, neck pain, and hip dysfunction. So this is really important to do if you are sitting a lot, to really open this thoracic spine up. Great. So we're going to come to tabletop position here. And tabletop position looks like the shoulders are over the hands and the hips are right over the knees. And from here, I don't know if you can see me, and that's fine if you can't, but we're going to do little scapula push-ups. So basically, we're going to press through the hands, and the toes can be curled under or not, up to you. And you're going to press the mat away, wrapping the shoulder blades out and around the body, as if the shoulder blades were going to kind of come towards the middle of the chest. Press away, and then the shoulder blades are going to wrap back onto the body. So it's just a small movement in the shoulder blades, right? Everything else stays just neutral. So pressing away, pressing the ground away, as if you were pressing and lifting the chest away from the mat. And then exhale, letting the scapula come back in together, down and together, wrapping them as if you were going to put them in your little back pockets here. So 3 more like that. Press ground away. Wrap scapula back onto your back here. So we're getting some rhomboid movements as well. So as you're going through this, we're getting some rhomboid movement, which is the back muscles, which tend to be strapped really long and kind of weak from us sitting like we do. And so using these muscles to wrap the scapula back onto your back is going to help with that posture, help with that rounded shoulder posture, if that makes sense. 1 more, press the ground away. And exhale. Great. Sit back onto your feet, reach your arms out in front of you, and let your chest and your head come towards the ground for child's pose. Taking a breath here. And then if you'd like to make this more active, come up onto the fingertips, prop up onto the fingertips, lift your armpits as if they were lifting towards the ceiling. So once again, it's that wrapping that scapula back onto the back here. So we're working the shoulder mobility and thoracic mobility tonight is what we're working on. Breath here. Great. Relax the arms. Bend your elbows. So keep your arms still reaching way out in front of you. Bend your elbows and put your palms together. Bend the elbows deeply until you feel your palms come to the back of your head here. Breathe here. And I definitely am getting some sensation under that armpit area from the lats. Extend the arms out. Palms are still pressing together. And then bend the elbows again. We're still in the child's pose. Perfect. Place the hands flat on the floor in front of you, press into the ground and shift forward on to all fours. And then you're going to back your feet up a little bit, or back your knees up a little bit. So coming back about 2 feet or so. And then you're going to walk your hands out in front of you and send your bum back. So your bum's going to be right over your knees here for puppy pose. So kind of like we just were in with the child's pose. And head comes towards the ground here. See if you can keep this active here. Can you wrap the shoulder blades around again here, lifting the armpits, breathing into that mid-back. And by breathing into that mid-back, you need to initiate the breath into the chest. So bringing the breath not just in the belly, but really expanding those ribs open. By doing these thoracic mobilities, it helps us with our breathing as well, which is amazing. One more breath here. Beautiful. Shifting forward onto all fours. You're going to press the ground in with the left palm roots down. Right arm is going to reach up. So we're doing a twisting to the right. Right arm reaches up to the right, up to the ceiling. Now see if you stay in that twist, bring your navel towards the ground, kind of like we were when we were seated. And now see if you can just get that twist to come from the mid back. You're probably not going to get as far, no problem. This is not a competition. Breath here. Exhale, you're going to bend that left arm deeply and reach the right arm through the little gap here. Lay that right shoulder onto the ground. Maybe the right head lays onto the ground here. Press the right back of hand and shoulder into the ground and slowly reach the left arm up towards the sky. Rolling open that left shoulder. Breath here. Pressing into the back of the right hand to really get that twist and to support yourself here. That way you're not leaning onto your neck here. One more breath. Exhale, left arm comes down right in front of face with the left elbow bent. Plant the left hand into the ground, press up and bring the right arm back up to the sky. Big breath here. Exhale, set the right hand down. Shake it out for a minute if you need to. Do a little down or do a little dance here. Press the right hand into the ground and you're going to reach the left arm up to the sky. Left arm reaches up to the sky. So first just do the twist how you want to do the twist, right? And then notice what happens if you bring that navel and rotate it down towards the ground and see if you can get that rotation just in that mid back, right? Pressing into the floor with the right fingertips really to support your wrist here. All fingertips are spread wide and really pressing in with that finger, with the thumb and the forefinger here. One more breath. Exhale, right arm bends deeply, left arm threads through, left shoulder lays to the ground, back of left hand presses into the ground. And then if it feels good to you, if you want to just stay here, that's great. If it does feel good to you, left hand presses in, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling here. Right shoulder rolls back. So we're rolling back that shoulder blade again. The back is active here. Even though this is kind of a resting pose, see if you can kind of make it active by activating the back muscles here. One more, inhale. Exhale, bringing that hand back down. Right hand comes right in front of the face, presses into the ground. Left arm unwinds, reaches up towards the sky. Big breath in, exhale, come back to center here. And we're gonna come up for a downward facing dog. So to do that, press into the palms, curl the toes under, lift the knees up high, and then send the hips back towards the back of the room here. Straighten the arms and look down at your hands. Are your fingers spread wide? And are you pressing into the mat with that forefinger and that thumb? Bend the knees deeply here, walk your dog out as much as you want to. Maybe alternate knee bending. Then find a rest in your downward facing dog here. See if you can relax the upper shoulders, those traps up top. Can you get your shoulders away from your ears even while your arms are raised above your head? And can you wrap those shoulder blades once again together and back onto the back body? Big deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Right foot plants, and we're going to lift that left leg up for a three-legged dog. So left leg lifts up, the heel lifts up towards the sky, keeping that left hip though pointing down towards the earth, right? See if you can get equal balance on each hand here. Can you balance equally on both the hands? Lift that left leg up a little bit higher. Beautiful. Bend the right leg knee a lot, and then bend the left knee and bring the left foot between the hands for a low lunge position. Set the right knee down onto the ground nice and gently behind you, right knee behind you. Toes are curled under. I always get that, curls under. The toes are curled under on the back foot, on the right foot. Look at your left knee, make sure that it's over that left ankle so that you're not coming too far forward or too far back. So it should be just directly over that ankle. Take a nice deep breath here. Take a second to root down, and then root equally between that back knee and that front foot as if they were scissoring together energetically, as if you could pull those 2 points together. Lift from that, lift the upper body, and stack the shoulders directly over the hips here. Take a breath here to find the balance. Great. And then take your arms to your side. Right arm is going to do that same movement that we did when we were sitting down. So the right arm is going to reach out over towards the left side of the mat. So you're reaching out, not just the arm. So if I was just reaching the arm, it would just be like this. But if I'm reaching out and letting that shoulder blade wrap out around the front body here. Deep breath here. Working on keeping that right hip towards the front of the room. Big breath. And then exhale, drop that right arm. Shake it out. Give it a little shake. See if you can relax the top, the trapezius muscle up here. Get it away from the ear. Just kind of let it go. Great. And we're going to go for one more here. So reaching that right arm over towards the left. Reach, 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 reach. And then we're going to make a big circle. So the arm makes a big circle open to the right. So kind of like what we were doing in that seated position, and then reaches over to the left. So we'll do 3 of those. 1, open. 2, allowing the upper body to twist just gently. And 3. Last one, open, open, open. And then place both palms flat on the ground to frame that front foot. And then you will step that left knee back so that you're in a plank position or a modified plank position like me, which is knees are down. Come into the plank position for a minute here and shore up that midline. By that, I mean take that navel and bring it back towards the spine here. Just like we were doing before, see if you can press the ground away from you, kind of like when we were doing those scapula push-ups. Can you do that same thing here? Can you really press the ground away and then wrap the shoulder blades forward, kind of almost creating like a dome in the front body here, or a hollow body here. Great. And then bend the knees, or sorry, if you're on your knees, great. And then if not, come down to your knees, and then we're going to lower knees, chest, and chin. So the elbows are going to stay in towards the midline, and we'll lower all the way down to the ground, keeping the hands right below your shoulders. Untuck the knees, straighten the legs out, press into the ground with the tops of the feet and the pelvis, and then rotate up and open. Shoulder blades, once again, wrap down. Collarbone is broad. And then the look is to look straight down. The head should be just straight down to not crank the neck up. And then you should be able to kind of almost take maybe your hands off the mat, maybe even just for a second, even if that feels good. But if it's too much on the low back, just stay right where you are. Maybe your hands hover, hover, hover. Great. And then you come back down, forehead to mat. You're going to press back to an all fours position or a downward facing dog, your choice, but we're going to meet in downward facing dog. Great. Look between your hands and step your feet up between your hands for a forward fold. Keep the knees bent deeply here. Ragdoll the upper body and shift back and forth on the feet from heel to toe, and see if you can just let that upper body go. Maybe shake the head out, yes and no. Maybe clasp opposite elbows here. Hands placed on the ground in front of you or on your shins, depending on where you want to go. And then we're going for a halfway lift position or a flat back position. Stay here for a moment and feel what it feels like to shore that midline up again, to take that navel in towards the spine, wrapping those shoulder blades back onto the back here and extending out from the body, long from the body. And then exhale, bend the knees a lot. Place both hands onto the ground, step or float back to plank again, or modified plank with the knees down. Breath here. Exhale, you're going to come down, knees, chest, and chin. So those elbows stay in, tucked close, right, to protect those wrists and those elbows. Legs extend out in front or down toward the ground. Press into the ground with the tops of the feet, the pelvis, and then lift up for a low cobra. And then look down to the ground here. Think about extension as if somebody was pulling a nice string from the top of the ceiling and was pulling you to get the length in the spine. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And then we're going for the other side. Right leg lifts up. High, high, high. See if you can keep that hip down, that right hip down here. And then imagine trying to get the weight evenly distributed between the hands so that you're not just dumping into that right shoulder. Right leg lifts a little higher. Roll forward on to the left toes. Bend the left knee, bend the right knee, and then bring the right foot between the hands for low lunge. Left knee sets down behind you. So that way you're getting a nice stretch in that left hip flexors here. Take a minute to set up. Energetically, that right foot and that left knee are pulling together, scissoring together to create stability. Standing it up or bringing the upper body up over the hips here. Great. Left arm is going to reach out over towards the right front of the mat. Reach, reach, reach. Reaching out to the right. Breath here. But relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. I noticed I was just kind of scrunching my shoulders up. So allowing the shoulders to drop down. Reach, and then let it all go. Shake out that left arm. Jiggle it around. Let that wrist go. Let go any effort that you can in this. And then reach that left arm over again towards the right. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Now opening up the big circles with that left arm. So opening up the torso to the left, and we're following that arm. So we're following it back around to the right. As you make big circles with the arm, you're following it with the body as well. So opening to the left, twisting to the right, opening to the left. Oh yeah, that feels good. If you've been sitting, I'm sure that this just feels amazing, because this is all opposite stuff than what you're doing when you're sitting. So I'm curious to know how your guys' backs feel after this practice. And the necks and the shoulders. Hopefully there's less tension there. Great. After that third one, hands are going to come down and frame the front foot here. I'm going to step it back to a modified plank or plank position, up to you. And take your flow here. So either knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga, upward facing dog, your choice. Knees, chest, chin. Once again, low cobra. Exhale, press it back to downward facing dog. Send those hips high. Walk the feet out here. Look between the hands and step your feet up to meet your hands for a folded forward fold. Take a breath here. Inhale, that flat back position again. So either hands are on the shin or on the floor in front of you, your choice. And then you're really trying to find that extension from the lower body. So how the upper body works differently than the low body. So that low body is the base. And then you're really extending the crown of the head out, directly out from the body. Exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, lift all the way up, bend those knees a lot. Inhale, reach to swoop the arms up, 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 up. And then bring the hands to center. Find mountain pose, which is just that the feet are directly under you. And then we're going to bring the arms behind us and then place your hands on right above your glutes here. So kind of on your low back, and your fingertips are facing down towards the ground here. Okay. And then pressing into the low back and then squeezing the elbows together as if you could energetically, as if those elbows were going to touch one day. So you're squeezing, 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 and holding that. Maybe you look up. Maybe there's a slight back bend that you get from it, but not coming too much from the low back, right? We're trying to open up that mid back. One more breath here. Great. And then bringing your weight into the right foot here. Left knee is going to raise up. So we're going for a balancing pose. Left knee will raise up right out in front of us. And then you can clasp with the left hand onto that left shin. If this feels good here and this is challenging, great, stay here. Like, this is great. And part of practicing is falling. So if you're falling, no worries. Everybody falls out of balance pose. It's called practice. It's not meant to be perfect, right? So if you feel like you're good here, great, stay here. If you'd like even more of a challenge, maybe you open that knee out to the left. And then maybe that right arm comes out opposite to open. Woohoo. And then bringing the knee back to center, seeing if you can keep it up. Woo. And find a spot on the floor that's not moving, or something that's not moving. That's a good way to, and then focus in on a point. That'll help you with your balance. Clasping your right hand onto your left knee. Keep that knee bent. We're still up in the same one. I know. Is that right leg talking to you yet? Those little balancing muscles, for the low leg. This is really, really good for you. So right arm's going to come clasps onto the knee here. Left arm reaches back. So we're going for a twist. Twisting towards the left. Really root down through that right foot. Woo! And then if you want, maybe you even extend that left leg, and you can clasp onto the outside of the left foot with that right hand. Woo! Okay. Slowly try to come back to the center if you can, if you haven't fallen out of it like I did, but that's the fun of it. And then bring your both feet back down to the ground. Shimmy it out, do a little dance. Whew. We're going to set up for the other side. I don't know if you can feel that or not. I definitely feel that right leg was talking to me. So ground down first through the left foot. Find your focal point. Find something in front of you that's not moving, a spot on the ground, something that's not moving. Find that point and stare at it. And then bring the right leg up. Keep that right knee bent. Great. Clasp with the right hand here. And then you're going to bring that right leg out and open. Contract those glutes here. This is a good glute contractor here, kind of to get that knee more open. And then maybe the left arm comes up and out. Breath here. Come back to your breath. Notice what the mind does when stuff gets challenging here, right? Where it's challenging to maybe stay like this. And then bring it back to center. Whoop. Clasp with the left hand. So left hand comes onto the right knee here. We're still up in the same one. You guys are doing great. And then right arm opens up. We're going for the twist to the right. And there's always usually a side that's easier or stronger. That's totally normal. And then if you want, maybe the left hand comes down to the outside of the right foot and extends, or not. And if it feels like it's too hard, come back to the knee bend. And every day it's going to be different. Slowly come back to the center. And then lower the legs. Shake it off. Come back to the front of the mat. If you've moved from that, inhale, you're going to reach up towards the ceiling with the arms swoop up. Exhale, we have a forward fold, hinging at the hips. Forward fold, exhale, inhale, halfway lift, that halfway lift position. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees a lot, place the hands on the ground, come back to a downward facing dog here. Inhale, that left leg lifts up for three-legged dog. Shift forward on those right toes and send the left foot to the outside of those hands. So for a lizard lunge, so it's like a wide lunge. Right knee drops down and comes back. Hands are inside the left knee here. And then take your time, and if it feels good to you, maybe you drop down to your elbows. Maybe not. Maybe this is great and that feels amazing. If you'd like to, you come down to the elbows here. And breathe. Come back to your breath here. Right hand presses down, so we're still with the bent elbows if that feels good. If not, then the right hand presses down or the right elbow presses down. Wherever you're at, it's up to you. And then left arm reaches up to the sky for twisting towards that bent left knee. And if you do have your arms bent, see if you can press that palm into the ground evenly, if you have that right arm bent. And if you're up on a straight arm, really press evenly into that hand, into that right hand. Roll that chest open. Breath. Left arm reaches up overhead. So keeping that chest open, there's a tendency for the chest to kind of want to roll down. Reach that left arm up and overhead. Okay, exhale, bring both arms back down to the ground or back to straighten arms. Come up and out slowly, so place both hands flat onto the ground to come out of this. Set yourself up, curl your right toes under, and then send your left leg back. We'll meet in a plank position or modified plank position. Press that ground away from you again. Wrap those shoulder blades, right? Pressing. Great. And then lowering knees, chest, and chin. Knees, chest, chin. When we get down here, we're going to do something a little bit different. So everybody's going to come down to the ground. Even if you were going to do an upward facing dog, meet down on the ground here. Hands are going to come with the palm right beside you. So place your hands long and right beside you here. The forehead is down, facing towards the earth here, held by the earth here. And turn your palms so that they're facing towards the earth, right? So there's an external rotation of the arms. Before we even lift up here, what I want you to practice doing is notice how if you do nothing, the shoulder blades, the shoulder tips want to kind of touch the ground. See if you can just lift the shoulder blades off the ground first, right? Externally rotate the arms. So the thumbs are kind of almost working as if they were going to wind up towards the ceiling here. Okay, so that's engaged first. Now press into the ground, and then if it feels good and you want, you can lift the head off the ground. Only if it feels good to the low back. If this feels too much on the low back, come back to the head facing toward that, supported onto the ground, right? I'm still getting a workout here, even just with my head supported. And lift as high as feels good for you. And we're going to hold it here. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly lower it back down. Whew. It's interesting. I mean, we don't even have any weight on that, and it's so challenging to have the arms go in that direction because it's just not the way that our arms are going most of the day. Most everything we do is in front of us. So right now we're in what's called external rotation of the arms. So this is great. It's compensating for what we're doing all day long, right? It's helping kind of bring balance to the shoulders here. Okay, so keep the hands placed flat on the ground still. Wrap the shoulder blades back again, right? So we're activating, and then see if you can curl those thumbs up towards the ceiling, and then maybe if it feels good to you, you fly. You lift that chest. You keep looking down towards the ground, though. You're not looking out in front of you. Keep your gaze towards the ground. And then see if maybe you want to laterally flex to the left. So you kind of fly your airplane just to the left a little bit, as if your left fingertips were going to touch the bottom of the mat. Come back to the center. And if you're still on the ground, just hold that. That's great. And come to the right. Right fingertips are working towards the bottom of the mat. Come back to center. Exhale. Relax. Bring the arms, bend the arms and place them in an alligator position where you're resting your head on the back of both your hands. So place your hands in front of you. Rest your head right on those arms. Take a minute to check in. With those arms just in the same position that they are, we're going to shore everything up again. We're going to come up again. So press the tops of the feet into the ground, press that pelvis into the ground, and then as if somebody was taking those elbows and bringing them towards the sky, and the armpits were lifting up towards the ceiling. You lift maybe everything up or not. If it feels good to just lift the elbows off the ground and imagine the armpits lifting, perfect. If it feels okay, maybe you lift the head off the ground and it hovers a couple inches. Woo, you got this. I'm feeling this. Breathe. Come back to that breath. Exhale, totally relax. Take the knees, bend the knees, swish the feet back and forth to kind of let that low back kind of ring out. So just windshield wiper the legs back and forth. We got one more of these here. Great. So arms are gonna come out in cactus arms. So head is still, we're still on our bellies, our forehead's on the ground. Cactus arm, the arms, so palms are facing down and elbows are bent. With an inhale, you're going to reach the arms out in front of you, hovering the arms out in front of you. And then with an exhale, you're going to bend the elbows and act as if you could touch your elbows behind your back together. And the hands are still hovering off the ground, right? As if somebody had strings that they were pulling those backs of your hands towards the ceiling. So you're still getting that out of that external rotation, squeezing the shoulder blades together, down the back, squeezing the elbows as if they were gonna touch behind you. And then exhale, or inhale, sorry, reach out, extend the arms out in front of you, palms facing down. We're still hovering off the ground. 2 more. At your own pace, squeezing elbows together, squeezing those scapula together and down, hovering the whole time. Arms do not set down, but take a break if you want to. And squeezing. Great, and then relax. Woo. Okay, stay on your belly here. Reach your right arm out, directly out to the side of you. Place that right palm down on the ground here. The left knee is going to bend here. So just bend the left knee. Right leg stays long, okay? And then we're going to, the left hand is going to press into the ground and we're going to roll to the left. So we're kind of rolling onto that open shoulder. And just take it as far as feels good to you. Maybe the left foot comes and places flat on the ground behind that right extended leg. I know that was a lot of cueing for that. Sorry if that was confusing. Basically, we're in a twist to the left and that right shoulder is getting pretty opened up here. The left palm is in front of your face here. And if it feels okay, you're pressing that left palm into the ground as well. And that'll help you kind of get a little bit deeper into the twist here. Breathe deeply here. And then slowly roll your way out. So just roll over back onto your belly. This time, take your right arm and have it into a cactus arm. So right arm, palms facing down, and then we'll just do a little twist to the right again. So same side, just the elbows bent. And just take this one as far as feels good. This one you might not be able to get as far on. It's a different set of muscles that we're stretching here. Deep breath. And exhale. And then come out of it. We're going for the other side. So come onto your belly. Left palm comes out directly out from you, extends out. Left palm faces down towards the ground. Right arm comes down, presses into the ground. Right knee bends, and then twisting to the right. Right palm presses into the ground to get a little bit more out of the stretch here, opening that left shoulder up, relaxing the jaw. See where you're holding right now that doesn't need to be holding, right? Like the only thing that really needs to be firing right now is that right arm, but what is still clenching that maybe could let go here? I notice I clench my jaw a lot. I don't even realize it. Deep breath. Exhale, slowly roll out. Bend that left arm into that cactus arm, so like a 90-degree. And then press into that right palm again. Right knee bends, rolling to the right. And only take this one as far as feels good. You might not be able to get it as far, like I said. This is more of a pec minor than it is a pec major stretch. And what happens with us sitting and driving and studying all the time is that those shoulders start to round forward and the chest starts to get really tight. It's not where we experience the pain. We experience the pain in the back of the neck and the back of the shoulders. But what's really happening is that these pecs are so tight that it's causing the shoulders to kind of roll forward and cause pain in the back. Okay, and then roll out of this. Shake your arms out. And then press up to downward facing dog. Nice and slow. Downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up. Step that right leg outside of the hands. So the hands are inside that right foot there. Left knee lowers down. Take your time to get here, no rush. And then if it feels good, maybe you lower to your elbows or not, or you stay here with your hands, with your arms straight. And just like when we were in that other lunge, see if you can scissor that right foot and that left knee together, right? Like how can you get that lift too? Breathe here. If you have your elbow bent, press into that left palm to activate that left palm so you're getting the use of that whole left forearm. Right arm reaches up and twists, and the right twist up. Sorry, right arm up and twist to the right. I don't know why words are hard for me today. I've been having a hard time with the words. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. Deep breath. Exhale, bring both arms back down to the ground. Straighten the arms if they're not already. Take the right leg back to meet the left and press back until you are on your back. So however you'd like to get there. Coming onto your back. Oh, feels good to lay the back on the ground, huh? Bend the knees, place the feet flat on the ground here. Gonna come up for a bridge. That's where we're going. Feet are about hip width apart. All parts of the feet are pressing into the ground at the same time and evenly if you can. And the knees are working their way together. So there's an energetic holding as if you had a ball between your thighs. And then you're stepping into your feet, stepping in. So energetically, there's like you're as if you were just stepping up. The glutes engage. So there's a squeeze in the glutes here. The hips lift up towards the ceiling. Keep that jaw gentle, keep the neck gentle, right? There's nothing that should be doing right now. That should all be relaxed. The collarbone, see if it can be spread open and wide. Maybe you tuck your shoulder blades under you. And then exhale, rolling it down slowly, slowly, slowly. Great. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug. And then extend both legs out so that both legs are out. Bend that left knee, arms come out on either side of you. And then left knee falls over towards the right. So we're coming into a twist here. Right leg is still long, left knee is bent and coming over towards the right. Palms facing up. Energetically trying to keep that left shoulder down to the ground. If it lifts off the ground, no worries, but just we're trying to get it to kind of stay open if we can. Left arm reaches out and closes the book. So palm to palm towards the right palm. Exhale. And then inhale, opens up again. Left arm opens up. Left shoulder goes down to the ground, palm facing up. Exhale, palms together. So the right arm stays right where it is. Left arm is just moving over and around you, kind of like a big arc. Last one. And exhale, palms together. Come back, roll out into both legs long. Take a second here. Right leg bends. Place the right foot flat on the floor. Arms are extended out. Roll over to the left side here. Right arm is really planting down into the ground. Right shoulder is working its way towards the ground as well. Deep breath. Doesn't matter how far that right leg gets. It doesn't have to be touching the ground, y'all. Breath here. Right arm reaches up and over to the left palm, closing that book. I like to follow it with my head too. And then inhaling, following, opening, opening, opening. And that right leg is still staying in a twist the whole time. So it's just your upper body opening and closing. And last one. And then make your way to Shavasana. So find a cozy way. Maybe you need to put a little sweatshirt on, put something under your knees. It's nice to have like a rolled up blanket or something under your knees. Make yourself comfortable for the last couple minutes. And I will wake you up with a little chime here. So I will take care of the time. I'll mind the time. And as you lay here, just checking in with yourself, just letting go of all effort. And checking in to see if your feeling tone feels any different than it did when we checked in the beginning of class during the meditation. And if you can't remember, no worries, just taking in how you feel now, noticing that. Maybe there's a little more spaciousness, a little more ease. Maybe the mind has quieted down a little bit. Nothing to do here except breathe and no one to impress. The pressure's off. taking your time to move slowly, staying inward, maybe moving your fingers and your toes, and just turning to one side, rolling to one side, kind of in a little fetal position. And just taking a minute to come back to our check-in at the beginning of class and just thinking about what you would have said to your younger self, what that was. And what I heard from all of you is such a gentleness with your younger self, right? It's so easy to be gentle with our younger selves for some reason. And my hope for you is that you can just think of something to say to yourself. What would you say to yourself now? If at 80 years old, you could look back on your life and say, hey, so-and-so, this is, whatever it would be, something of compassion, finding compassion for yourself, a word of encouragement, maybe something that you need to hear for yourself or something that you wish that maybe a friend or a loved one would say to you. And just hold that into your heart as you kind of find your way into a seated position tonight, slowly, and I'll meet you in a seated position here. If it feels okay for you and you'd like, you can bring your hands to heart center with the palms together. And it's with so much gratitude that I get to come and teach these classes. I look forward to them every month to see all of you and all you beautiful magical queers, and to all the teachers that have come before me, the long lineage of teachers have come from India to teach this and to teach it to us. And may this be a blessing to you and to everyone else around you. So know that by you showing up today, that you fortified me and everybody else in this room, and that it's a ripple effect. So the real practice starts as you shut this Zoom off, and hopefully you'll find a little more peace, a little more openness in your life as you move forth with your night tonight. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I'm open for any